Good morning, Unity. So glad to see you here today. Getting to see some more smiling faces and some that want to wear your mask. That's fine with us. We're not here to tell you what to do. I want you to feel comfortable. And thanks for everybody being here today. As we begin to enter into that sacred space, just know that every place is sacred. Every place is sacred. God is everywhere present. But in taking a deep breath and just relaxing, going into that space, I'll share with you a daily word from 1937. Is that okay with you? Looking back, me too. Looking back at some of the old things that have been brought forward. And sometimes the old things, the basic things, that's where we build upon. But I'm looking at unity today. Started thinking of some things that would excite me when I came in. And so I want to share a few things with you. But since this is the first one, I opened up the book and saw it was from way back then. I took the very first one that I opened to. So if you would, let's just close our eyes for a moment as we go to that place where we meet the divine presence, where you and God meet. And maybe these words will feel like your words. And know that the Spirit of the Lord now directs us into the ways that we should go. And our path is one now with peace, joy, and plenty. Have you found your path in life? Remember that the Spirit of the Lord directs you in a way where you can find your perfect happiness. This way is one of pleasantness and peace. Until you find it, you may feel lost. Until your feet are placed upon it, you may be discontent, or you may feel like you're unsuccessful. The way of Spirit is always illumined, for the light of the Spirit removes darkness. It removes obstacles from you and from your path. Your path always lies ahead and forward and upward. And on this path, you can direct other souls to their highest good. For you have the power to help them when they are looking for their path and they want to discover that peace and plenty that they see in you. The Spirit of the Lord is ever at your side, directing you into that which is for your highest good. It brushes aside every barrier to your advantage. When in spiritual consciousness, you may realize the mighty truths that direct you into the ways of Spirit. In the stillness of your soul, ask to be directed to your highest good. Seek to be shown just what you should do today in order to benefit yourself and to be of help to others. Isaiah 2:3. He will teach us of his ways, and he will walk in his path. Dear Heavenly Father, may we come to recognize that there is something sacred here. Sacred right here in our midst, all around us. And that something sacred is our very beingness. That something that is sacred is our life that you gave to us. Something that is sacred within us, that you placed within us, that you gave to us before we came into this foundation of this earth. And it was something special you told us that we were here to do. But so often we forget it. We forget how sacred this planet is, how awesome life is. But right now, dear God, we turn to you and we listen. We listen. We listen as you speak to us and you tell us that there's something sacred. There's something for us. May we open our hearts right now. Right now. and listen as Spirit speaks. There is something sacred here.
I am willing. I am open. I surrender.
Just surrender.
I realize that God is already at work in my life.
God is already working in your life.
There is something sacred here. Everything I need is right in front of me. Every place I stand is holy ground. Everyone I meet has something beautiful for me. Everywhere I go, it's all around. There is something sacred here, something beautiful, something real and true, something powerful. There is something sacred here, something wonderful that only I can do. There is something sacred here. If I ran around and did 100 million tasks, didn't do what God sent me to do, then I will have done nothing to express the depth of holiness that God made me to use. There is something sacred here, something beautiful, something real and true, something real and true, something powerful. There is something sacred here, something wonderful that only I can do, only I can do. There is something sacred here. We don't know just how much time we have, but there's one thing we can do. We can hold heart of passion for everyone, and every day we have to let God's love come shining through. There is something sacred here, something beautiful, something real and true, something real Thank you, God. I am grateful.
Thank you, God. May we be ready. Amen. I hope that touched your heart. That's Susan K. Watt. I met her 17 years ago. And that song touched my heart. And I wanted to share it with you because I believe God's calling to us in this day and the time, telling each of us there's something sacred inside of you, inside of all of us, something that's real and something that's true. It's the spirit of divinity that's in you that brought you here to this place today, that brought you here in this age for 2021. And you're being called right now to look inside yourself, not look outside yourself, look inside yourself. There's many people that would not step foot in this place or in any church because they come in and start looking at personalities. It's time to leave personalities behind and start just looking at your own personality and seeing, where do I need to go? What do I need to do to get connected with God? I think a lot of people that find their way to unity, they're excited at first, but then they like the energy, but then they don't realize what unity is all about. Unity came about, the Fillmores, Myrtle especially, Myrtle and Charles Fillmore. They would sit, and Myrtle she's real connected with divine. Ever since she's little, she was a sickly person, and everybody told her, you took after so-and-so in our family, and you probably won't make it to adulthood. Well, she bought into the story. Did you hear what I said? She bought into the story. We've bought into so many stories that we've been told, and we haven't stopped to say, Lord, what's the truth? What's the truth? Where can I find the truth? How long have you been looking for the truth? How many places have you gone? How many churches have you experienced? How many workshops have you been to? How many psychologists have you been with? Where do you find the truth? How many friends have you told your stories to? What's going on with us? We're still looking. We're looking. What are we looking for? We're looking for that that's already been placed in us since the foundations of the world. We came from God. We all came from the same source. That's my belief system. Doesn't have to be yours. Doesn't have to be yours. That's the beauty of unity. Unity started out with healing, with someone experiencing a healing that this person didn't think was possible. Myrtle Fillmore was a person like you and me, but she had a lot of faith ever since she was little. She liked to play outside. She used to talk to God, talk to the plants and the flowers and the trees and the water. But people tell her, now you can't play with other kids. You're weak and you're sickly. So she listened. And as she grew, the family kept telling her these stories. Later on, as an adult, she lived to be an adult and married Charles Fillmore. And she was getting weaker. And she happened to think, before I leave this world, I want to hear some truth. I want to hear something that'll touch my heart. Well, there was a tent meeting going on. I remember tent meetings. How about you? Where a minister would come in and set up a tent or something, or rent a room somewhere and begin to talk about something maybe a little different than you've heard about before. And she went to hear, I believe his name was Weeks. And when she did, one thing she said really stood out to her. He said, you know what? I believe in healing. I believe in miracles. He said, but the one reason they can't take place or don't seem to take place is you don't believe it, for one thing. He said, you bought into what people tell you. He said, there are people here today that are sick because somebody said they were sick. They took after their parents. They were going to have heart problems because a parent had a heart problem, or an aunt or an uncle. They were going to have something wrong with their lungs or stomach, because it's in your lineage, you're going to have that. And he said, that's just a lie. And I'm sure she thought, well, you know, I have lung problems and I've had it all my life. What's he talking about? He said, your father is God. And God doesn't give you sickness, disease, and pain and suffering. Your mind does. What you think, because you are a child of God. And God is the one that created you. And he created you perfect. Guess what? He created you perfect. But you take that perfection. Now, I'm adding to it. I hear myself adding to it. So just bear with me. This is what I think I remember. Because the thing is, remember. So this is my memory. That God gave you perfection. But he gave that to all of us in the beginning. And he said, my children, guess what? I'm giving you free will. You take everything I've got, everything I give you, and you use it however you want to use it. Voila. We are that powerful. The power of a spoken word, the power of a seed thought. And we are planting seeds in our mind every moment, every hour, every day, every month, every year. And guess what? Seeds grow. Seeds grow. So why is it that she had black lung, I think they called it back then? And they were eventually going to have to send her away, you know. It's put her in an institution, I think it was called back then. And so she decided, if what this man is talking about, I'm going to be still enough, I'm going to die by myself, or I'm going to do something to have a breakthrough. God, I got to know the truth. I want to know the truth. So she went in a room by herself. Her mother-in-law was living with them, doing the cooking and all this because, you know, she was getting weak. And she said, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Her mother-in-law started bringing her some food, and she'd take up a little bit. But she began to feel stronger. She felt better. Life seemed to be working for her. So she came out of that room. She started doing things around the house. She started going outside. And then one day when she was out, maybe shopping or something, somebody came over and said, Myrtle, what are you doing here? What you talking about? What am I doing here? I thought you was dead. We haven't seen you in a long time. People have been talking about you were dead. You know, we heard you had that black lung and you're dead. What happened? She said, well, God healed me. She said, I've been telling myself a lie. And I woke up to realize I've just been living a lie. Say what? She said, oh, come on over to the house sometime and I'll talk to you. So people began to come. Now, her husband was more like a scientific mind. She came from the heart. He came from the head. It's proved to me these things. Proved to me. And she said, well, the way it happens is just in prayer and meditation, you connect with the divine and you can get all kind of information like that. You know, God is within me. God's within us all. And he wasn't too sure about this, but he watched his own wife's life as people began to come into the home, come in wheelchairs. They'd leave out of the wheelchair, or days or weeks or months later, they were out of the wheelchair. All kinds of miracles started happening. And if you'll go back 100 or so years, I remember when Oral Roberts and Billy Graham and stuff, Billy Graham started with a healing ministry. When he was young, he was in Greensboro. There was a polio hospital there. And it wasn't 100 years ago because I'm in my 70s, but I remember the healing was still going on then. But if you go back about 100 or so, you had a lot of healings happening. Hadn't you heard your mom or grandmother talking about them? Well, the hospital was there, and I remember as a little girl sitting on my daddy's shoulders because he wanted me to see above this big crowd as they were taking children down towards the front in wheelchairs and with their braces on. And my thing was I was seeing these strings of light, but up on those light strands were these beings sitting up there. How'd they get up there, I thought? How'd they get up there? And they knew I saw them. The way I knew I saw them because they would start going down towards the children. They'd smile and wave at me. So this is my imagination. You can imagine this is my imagination, but that's what I was imagining. That's what I was seeing. But when they got down there and Billy Graham was praying, he could feel that angel there touching him also. And he would ask, let's take off the brace. And it was no game. It was no phonies. I saw the angels. To me, they were angels. They were there as they held the energy around there, and the kids began to stand up. They may not make that perfect step, but they could stand up and take a step. And this is what Myrtle was experiencing. She was experiencing the energy of the divine that's within us, that was giving her the wisdom and the sight and the knowingness that all things are possible when? To them that believe. That's a thing I've been talking about for years, and I can't quite get it home to myself or to you. And that's all we are. We're here to share the truth with each other, not to do something for you, but that what's in you can do it through you. That's the message that Jesus brought. So this is what the Fillmores began to teach. They began to follow, well, Myrtle already was following Jesus, the Christ. Why do I say the Christ? Jesus was a man born just like you and me. He said, I am the Son of Man. I have a physical body. All that you're tempted of, I'm tempted of too. You go back when he faced Satan, which is that, to me, it's the ego self that tempts us to do all the things of the world and tempts us to stay in the world and put everything in life above our spiritual awakening, if you will, or our spiritual knowingness. So he came and he began to, in that lifetime, to overcome the world, as he called it, overcome temptation, overcome. He was told that he could have the world, bow down and worship me, Jesus. He said, no, get behind me. He was also, get away, get away. And he said that he had really overcome the ego. He had overcome all those temptations. And it seems like in the human body, you can't do this. But when you start trusting in what's inside of you, rather than what's talking to you up here, and start listening to what lives in you inside, in the heart area, that energy that can communicate with you anytime you turn to it. It never forces itself on you. Never, 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 never. So unity was never meant to be a church, was never meant to be an organized church in the sight of Fillmore and Myrtle when they started. What they realized is a few of us are going to get together in our homes, maybe in a building. We'll get a building, and we'll come together and we'll seek truth from the heart, not from the head. We'll connect in meditation and prayer, and we will connect and become one from our love and from our heart. Because when we're in love, we do not judge each other no matter where you're at in life. When we love each other, we don't lie to each other. When we love each other, we don't stab each other in the back. When we love each other, we don't say, I'm better than you and you're less than me. I'm more of a master than you. Did you know that? No, we don't do that. Because in God's sight, we're all equal. We're all equal. And when I'm down, you can lift me up. And when I'm up and you're down, I can lift you. This is what the name of the game was all about. This is how it got started. And if you have anything going on between someone, come together and you talk about it. You resolve your issues. You don't go behind their back, belittling them and condemning them. This is what unity was all about. And it began to spread. And people from the Catholic, if you're listening to me, folks, on that Zoom, Catholic, Methodist, Presbyterian, Buddhist, whatever denomination, blacks, whites, Orientals, they started coming in. And nobody says, oh, they're different. I can't stay here. They're different. They believe different way I believe. They believed in God. They believed in that higher power. They believed in something greater than themselves. And they believed in each other. and love began to spread just like it did in Jesus' time. The groups began to come. He didn't ask, are you rich or poor? If you're Jew or Gentile, are you this or that? Whosoever will, let them come. Whosoever will, let them come. We're at the place right now that a lot of churches have closed down. And then when you get back in the church, you find the same old thing that you did before you left. And then you realize, I'm glad I left. Why are you glad I left? Oh, all these little cliques here, all these little people bickering over this, that, the other, trying to be superior to somebody else, putting somebody else down. Somebody said they'd never, well, some sitting here said they'd never come into church again. But they came in and they've been here for years and years and years. Why? Why? They're not coming for somebody to look at or criticize. They're coming because when they walked in, they felt something in their heart. Things have shifted over the years. And I think a lot of them, we've got connected with the outer world too much. That's why there's been a stop. A stop because it's time to reset. Reset what? Our hearts. Our hearts and our minds to what's important in life. Are we blessing each other? If we're not, let's be quiet. I'm talking to me too, folks. Are we giving out positive information or negative information? Well, if it's negative, what good is it doing? Let's just stop that. As we start going down a checklist, we're checking our own self, not somebody else. And whatever they're doing, guess what? It's none of your business. Wow. But you know what you think of me is still none of my business. None of my business what you think of me. We are individual sparks of God. Individual sparks of God. One more time I'm hearing. You are what? An individual spark of God. Voila. That's who you are. That's who I am. Am I acting like it 24/7? I won't pretend I am because I know I'm not. But you know, Jesus said, you know, when you see me, you see the Father, and all the Father is perfection. I added that one on it. But the Bible, I kept hearing this week, be ye perfect. Now that little tune went by in my mind, be ye perfect. It's like, but I'm far from perfect, God. That's when I got that thought, or that voice from within my heart. But I made you that way. I made you that way. I made every single one of you perfect. Perfect. Just the way you are. But I don't like the way I look in the mirror. That's just your ego talking. You're the shape, the size, the whatever that you need to be for right now. And it's not about the body anyway. Do you think that God is going around checking out our weight, our height, our hair color, all that stuff? Does he care if I let myself go gray or if I dye it red? No. That's not a. But what's on the inside? How are we keeping our inner being? You know, Jesus talked about, here again, he was seeing hypocrites in the high places, the priests, the ones that were the teachers, the Pharisees, the Sadducees that knew all about the laws of God. And Jesus said, oh my. He said, you're like you want to keep the outside so white and so clean. Just like taking a cup and polishing it, letting it look so beautiful. But the inside is dirty. Inside is dirty. He could see the hearts of mankind. That's why he was talking like that. And he wasn't saying that to condemn them. He was saying that to say, can you take a good look at yourself? Can you take a good look at yourself? Why are you where you are? Is it to be seen? Is it to be heard? Is it to boost your ego? Or are you actually there to share something with someone? What are you doing there? What are you doing to the people? Are you bettering them? And that's the message for all of us, I think, right here, right now, in this time, for the whole world. For the whole world. We're getting an opportunity to get to know us, our own self, and see our own shortcomings and decide that we won't change. We have that perfected energy in us. But it's like Jesus said, can you hear what I'm saying? That's what he would say. Can you have ears and eyes and stuff to hear? It's a hard thing when you start working on your own self. We rather try to work on somebody else and tell them what's wrong so they can, so we can help fix them, But we're already fixed. We just don't know it. We hadn't been taught that. So she told the people that back to Fillmore, Myrtle, she began to tell people, I've been telling my body a lie. She said, when I was by myself, I would tell my body I was so appreciative of it. So appreciative. How strong it is and how it's taken me places and all the things that I've done in life. I give thanks to my heart that it's beating, my kidneys, my liver, my mind, everything, my hearing, my sight. And she said, I began to bless every organ, every cell, every fiber. Here, I'm stretching it again. But everything in me, I'm sure this is what she was doing to me, it feels like. She said she blessed her body. She blessed her mind. She blessed her lungs. And asked her body to forgive her for the things she had done to it, the things she'd said to it, and how she treated it unkindly so often. And healing took place. Healing took place. Well, Charles, he had had an infection in his leg. Y'all can look up any of this stuff you want to, though. But with the infection, they did all kinds of things. They cut him to bleed. They did all these remedies they could think of, took him to the doctors and stuff. But he wound up with a short leg. It was enough that they had a shoe fixed for him with wood on the bottom of it. And it wasn't just a little bit. It was a lot. And then he would wear a brace, too, to keep going. Eventually, he watched his wife, and he couldn't understand, why is it that these things happen for her, but they don't happen for me? Have you ever wondered about that? Why can they happen for other people, but not me? But he still knew that what was going on in the groups they were together, that there were miracles happening, and there were lives being changed. As more people from different denominations came in, he said, what we're to do is you're growing in wisdom and love and light and peace and joy. Prosperity is coming to you because you're getting in line with the divine within you. You're getting in alignment with God itself. Not looking to a God in some sky out there in the wild blue yonder that's got this big long beard. This is a man that is punishing you and doing all these things to you. That's not who the God that Jesus knew and came to teach us about. That's not that. Let's look at what Jesus taught. Let's look at what Jesus taught. Now, there's been other masters that's walked this plane, and there's many paths to get to the source. But I'll show you the way I've accomplished that, Jesus was saying. So they began to follow, and Charles Fillmore had gone all over the planet and had taken in all types of religious beliefs to study them. Told you he was intellectual. He wanted to know. And he saw there was a connection between them, but people just lived in different places and they just expressed God differently for them. And so he had people coming in and he said, take God as you know it, the highest that you can feel it, and you have to experience it. It's not something you teach. It's something you can share philosophy with, you can share scripture with, but it really, when it starts happening, you understand it, it starts unfolding from within. And he said, go back into your Methodist church, your Presbyterian church, your Catholic church, or Buddhist, or whatever it is. Can't name them all right here. But go back into your church. And when friends ask something, share what you feel about God. Just share it. You're not trying to change their mind. You're just waiting for somebody to ask, and you're happy to share. But we, as the way I remembered it when I was little, if you are a Christian per se, you try to cram it down everybody's throat. So much so, some of the kids today want nothing to do with anything religious because of somebody stuffing it down their throat, telling them how they have to be. And they found themselves out in the world drinking and drugging and different things to try to satisfy that hole in the heart. You don't find that spiritual. If you're not spiritually fed, there is a longing of something, that something's missing in your life. Something's missing. It's waking up. It's remembering who you are, remembering the divinity within you. That's what's missing. That's what's missing. So as they went back into the churches, and like Jesus said, just shine your light, your peace, your love, your joy. That will begin to expand. That's that auric field some talk about in metaphysics. You don't have to see it. You can feel the love. You can feel the peace. It's not phony. When it's real, and you can sense it. And people come to you and will ask things. And so that's what they expected. But when they went back into the Baptist churches and other churches, they weren't welcome. They weren't welcome. You're different. You're not talking about Jesus the way we talk about Jesus. You don't see God like we see God, so get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. So as they began to feel ushered out of the church or just feeling they're not wanted, they found themselves coming together. Coming together. Coming together. And teachings began to spread. There was land bought. A church a building went up. It was not meant to be a church, but it began to grow. And that's where came about Unity School of Christianity. And I have had some people walk in here and get upset because there's too much Jesus and too much Bible taught in here. But that's Unity School of Christianity. But it's offered in a different way for you to look at the teachings of Jesus or the Old Testament, the New Testament, and see how every character in there is a part of you. The good, the bad, the ugly. It's all a part of you. And if you're drawn to a story in the Bible, maybe it's something you heard when you was a little girl, a little boy, and it just intrigues you. You like that story. Maybe it's time to go back to the Bible and find out, what's the story about? If I were David, what would that mean to me? What did he learn? If I was Judas, and there's a Judas in me, what is it I'm trying to learn? Any character, any place in the Bible, if you're drawn to it, kind of look at it. Look at it. When I was little, Jesus was my main character. I even had him as my big brother. We got along fine. But what happened, it awakened in me, without my mom or daddy or my aunt or uncle, no one in our family was a Unity, had some ministers, Baptist minister, Methodist minister, but that wasn't the teaching that I was receiving from my imaginary friend. He was telling me things about love and peace and joy, and that all things are possible, and all humanity, all people have God within them. Just remember, and even today, and even at my age, every once in a while, I hear this little thing of just remember. Just remember. That's why I played that this morning. To go to that place of remembering there's something special about you. You are an individualized spark of God, and you are here to do something that only you, only you, only you, only you, only you can do. It may not seem like some great thing, but you can change somebody's life just by being with them. Someone that is in total darkness can see a spark of light in you, and a life can change. That's different than dragging somebody down to an altar or telling them how bad they are. Nobody has to tell you how bad you are. When you're bad, you know it yourself. You know, you're the first one to know it. So it's all up to us connecting with the source and finding the truth. So to me, when I know everything's falling apart in the outer world, and churches will fall apart, but we all need each other. We all need each other. We all need each other. No matter what color, what denomination, whatever, we need each other. And the truth that we're looking at today is God in you, the Father of all, the Creator of all. And you know, one of these days, we'll probably drop this physical form. Some of you may never experience death, who knows? But as this time goes on in space and time, we'll begin to drop these bodies. And I want to do all that I can do and find out, what did I come to do? Lord, let me do it. I don't want to keep wasting time. How about you? How about you? And I'm wasting time if I'm not loving each and every person on this planet. I'm wasting my life energy. I'm wasting my energy to be in negativity. I'm wasting it. What are we to do with it? It's to be the love, be the peace, be the joy. And okay, not every day that doesn't happen. But to watch yourself, not somebody else, and see how you can be better. You can push a little harder through that negativity. And you can begin to ask, Lord, let me see it different. Let me be in the midst of darkness, but yet shine your light. Shine your light in my heart and my mind that I can see the next step to take. Because I'm one with you, Lord. No matter how my ego self is acting, I'm one with you. Until that day I can say, I too have overcome the world. That means I have dropped. I've died to my negative self. Not negative self. It's taking that energy and merging it in such a way that the vibration gets so high, there is no room for anything there other than, I want to say, God. Jesus did that. He did that. When we leave this world, what are we leaving behind? Lots of people want to leave a legacy. Something wonderful, something big, something that will be there from now on. Look what I built. Look what I did. Look who I've become. All that's okay, but you know what? Once you leave this plane, what are people going to remember you for? They'll remember you for your goodness. They'll remember you for your love. They'll remember you for all the blessings that you've been in their life. They'll remember you. So it's your life. What you have today is your life. How are you going to use it? Why don't you just embrace it and just love every minute of it? And we can get into the good and the bad and the ugly sometime, because I'm feeling there's an answer there too for all that. It's all there. As we come together in unity and love, we'll find any answers to any questions we've ever wanted to ask, because it's inside of you. It's there. You already have the answer. You just don't see it. You don't remember. So I would like to close with a song. You know, Elaine Penn was going to be here today, and she got sick. We found out she couldn't be here. I was disappointed. I'm looking forward to her coming. But I thought, there's a song that she sings. And it's called It's Your Life. And I think that's what I was thinking about just a minute ago. Deb, do we have to happen to have that track of that? Would you like to hear about It's Your Life? And so you get to hear Elaine Penn today singing It's Your Life. Hit it, Deb.
With the life I'm living, I wanna make it count. Take the gifts I'm given and go beyond my doubts. Don't wanna look back and have to wonder why I never gave my dreams a chance to fly. It's your life, wrap your arms around it and leave this place better than you found it. 'Cause it won't matter how high you climb up, you'll be remembered by your love. It's your life. It's your life. Everybody has a purpose that is yours to do. Listen to the voice that's telling you the truth. It's time to step out and try to do your part. You're gonna shine now if you follow your heart. It's your life, wrap your arms around it and leave this place better than you found it. 'Cause it won't matter how high you climb up, you'll be remembered by your love. It's your life. It's your life. We're meant to leave a legacy, they say. Reach out and touch some lives along the way. It's your life, wrap your arms around it and leave this place better than you found it. 'Cause it won't matter how high you climb up, you'll be remembered by your love. It's your life. It's your life. It's your life. It's your life.
It's Your Life. I'm wondering, I thought I wrote it down because I'm forgetting it, but what is our mission? What's our mission statement, folks? Do you remember? Unity Church of Winston-Salem is a congregation of dynamic souls growing in spiritual awareness. Highest good. And on unity in all, and offer an opportunity to everyone to feel the love of God and the courage to express and live it. Guess what? I've said this for so long, and a year and a half later, we haven't been saying it. And you know, some of that kind of evaporates. That's what I'm saying. Now, we've forgotten from the beginning of time to now, so we're doing good to remember from that late time. So I applaud you, and I hope you heard this song, that it's your life. It's your life. So do with it as you please.